Welcome back to part 3 of how to rig a bird in Maya with Advanced Skeleton. In the previous videos we did all the model prep, we set up the joints and we even rigged all the wings. In this video we're going to cover the tail feathers. We're going to use a similar system to the wings using a nice control curve, and then we're going to move on to the toes and the claws and be able to add our own custom joints to be able to move each individual toe and claw. So let's crack on. Okay, this is where we left off. We've done all the wings, and now we're going to move on to the tail feathers. And we're going to do this in the same way we've done the wings, except there's a little bit of one extra control I'm going to show you. So this is what we've got here at the moment. The template has given us these joints here built in. I'm actually going to get rid of these and we'll create our own. Now, before I do that, let's jump over to a finished rig and just remind ourselves of what we're going to get here. So just like with the main wing feathers, you've got this, the nice up and down backs here. You've got the same on the tail feathers, but my tail feathers, your design might be different, are very long feathers and I want them nice and flowing. So with this setup, you get this extra joint at the end, and I'll show you why it's important in a minute, but you also get this lovely control, so it's all stretchy, so you can get nice flowing feathers that you can sort of manually, and they twist left to right. They don't twist forward this way, they twist this way. You get really nice deformation, and just the same as the wings up there, you've got this middle control where you can bend, and I can twist this here like this as well to get nice bends as well. Let me just smooth this geometry, and then I'm going to, yeah, look at that, nice. So you can get really nice sort of flowing and wavy feathers. And then at the end here, you've got the same as the ones up there. You've got these circular ones which move the whole wing chain as like almost like straight, like a plank. And then you've got these extra sort of curved ones in here which give you the same, you can just sort of reposition the ends. I've had to do that when I'm animating, sort of quickly push it inside or something like that. So that is where that's the controls that we've got, and I'm going to show you why we've got an extra control, extra joint on the end. Let's just jump back now to our own file. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the two different methods as we did before. Now, imagine, let's just say if we wanted to sort of duplicate this, trying to make our job a little bit easier. So let's say we went and just duplicated this joint, moved it across, because you want one in line with each and every feather again. So I'm just going to do 3 of these. Okay, so you've got these 3 in line with these 3 tail feathers. Okay, now let me just show you what happens if I try and rebuild from here. Okay, so first of all, can you see the mistake I've made here? I've done the classic where I haven't gone to toggle fit advanced first. So now when I go, we lose those. Okay, so that is a big reminder that I always do it. I still do it. A big reminder to press this before you do anything. So I'm just going to quickly undo this. Just quickly undo. Job done. And now I'm going to go into toggle fit advanced. Now I wanted to leave that mistake in the video because I've been using Advanced Skeleton for a long time and I still make that mistake all the time. So just remember, you've got to be in toggle fit advanced mode to be able to see it. And if you go up to show and then show all, you might sort of get your HUD down here. Let's just see and go back to toggle fit advanced. Sometimes you get a little bit of text says toggle fit advanced pop up. Anyway, so now we are in toggle fit advanced mode, and you can tell that because our curves and everything have gone. Okay, right, now back to square one. So now let me just show you this. Duplicate, move across, rotate, duplicate, move across, rotate. And so you might do this, and sometimes I do duplicate joints to make it quicker instead of creating my own. Okay, so now let me just rebuild and just show you one of the issues we're going to run into when you duplicate things. Okay, rebuild Advanced Skeleton error. Now let's bring up your script editor, and I'm just going to scroll down. Ignore this bottom bit. That's just code I've got for another program. Look at this. It says more than one object matches name tail 3 end. Now that's the problem with duplicating joints, especially when you duplicate chains of joints. So I'm going to close this down, and what it is it's saying we've got joints with the same name. Now, Maya's very good at when you duplicate something, it does give you different names like these main joints. But when it's a child of a joint and it's inside a parent, sometimes it can't do that. So let me just go to here. It said we've got something called tail 3 side a few times. So I'm going to scroll over to my outline and hit the F key, and there it is. There's that one. So now I'm going to open up one of the other ones, and there you go. We've got 2 the same, and if I open up the other one, we've actually got 3 the same. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. It's a bit long-winded, but you can use duplicate, you can do it however you want, but you will have to go through and change your names and sort out the errors. So what I prefer to do is actually create joints from scratch. Once you get used to it, it is actually quicker and more controlled, I think. Now, also, let me just go back. So we've gone back to our original template, and let me just explain why you've got this little extra joint here. Now that's actually built into the template. You don't get that on the wing feathers. Now I found this bug, and I spoke to the author, who's absolutely awesome at getting back to me, and we worked out that he worked out obviously that you needed this extra joint to be able to get the tail feathers to work with the curve controller. Okay, there was some sort of system, the way it worked, it was accidentally twisting too many joints, so he added this in, and not only does it work better, it gives you extra control, so it's fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete these two joints because I don't want them. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one, and then I'm going to delete not this one but this one, and it will bring you back to the last sort of little butt joint. And I also want this one lower down now, so I'm going to go to a side view over here, and I'm going to position this a little bit differently, because I want this in here, I want this right on the end. So I'm going to pull it out to sort of here, because this is where we're going to be pairing all our tail joints into. Okay, so now I'm going to go back out to a perspective view, and there we are. So now we're sort of ready to go. Now I'm going to go to a top view, hit spacebar, over your top view, hit spacebar again, and now we're going to draw out our joints. And again, we only need to do them on one side. Okay, so let's now go over to either create joints or over to your advanced skeleton menu, and we're going to go down to your joint tool over here, add joint. Click this, and I'm going to create them one by one. And we want, again, same as we did, we want one each for each proxy feather, even if you've got a feather system going over the top of this later. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top here. I'm going to go click here, and then I'm going to click here, and don't forget we need this extra joint in the end. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Y to reuse the last tool. Okay, and then I want one for this one, so I'm going to zoom in a bit, find out where the end of the feather is. It's there. I'm going to go up to the end, and there. I'm going to hit Y again, or you can hit enter and then click the tool again. I explained this in a previous video. Y is a quick key to use last tool. I'm going to click one here, go out to here, and then an extra one on the end. Hit Y, and then we've got this one here and here. I'm doing it a bit slow, so you can just keep up. And then we've got two almost central. It's not center though. I am not going to be placing a joint directly down the center for this. Okay, so I'm going to go one here and then here. If you're really close to the center, make sure you are off, because you don't want, because we're going to be flipping these, you don't want one in the center. Basically, it's going to be close together, but you don't want. I'm going to hit return to get out of that, and there you go. That's all our joints. You can go through and name them all if you want. For speed, I'm not going to name them. I'm going to hit spacebar. I'm going to go out to perspective view, and obviously they're going to be on the ground. Okay, so let's select all those ones in the middle. Go to a side view, and we're going to bring them up into place. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate them all down into place like this. Okay, and then I'm just going to go through, because on my tail feathers aren't all the same level. We've got some higher. That's the way the hummingbird is designed. So I'm just now going to go through and just check that we have them on the right height. So I'm going to select this one. It's just a bit finicky to go through. So now I'm going to move this one down, move this one down to place, scroll around, don't forget to, and if you get lost, you can always hit your F key, zoom in on whatever you got selected, remember. And then going to hit this joint here. I'm going to go to here, and if you're accidentally selecting your polys, don't forget to go up to here and turn off poly selection here. And then this one here, and this one is quite high, and let's just check the ends as well. So if anything's out of sync here, you just go down to your joints, move them into place, move them into place. Okay, that seems pretty good. And this one I'm going to move over as well. It's a bit too far out. So just go through, check. You're gonna, it's not too bad, because there's such a simple geometry, and you're gonna skin each one separately to these joints. Okay, so that is basically the tail feathers done, and then we're going to obviously add all the twisty attributes in, just like we did for the wings. Remember? So now I'm going to parent these in. I want them all parented into here. So let's go through. Let's go back to my selection tool. I'm going to select all of these. You can either drag select or just select them one by one, holding the shift key. Select the final joint and just hit the P key. There you go, and we've parented them in. And there you go. So now let's run a little test build, and then we can go on to adding in our attributes. So now let's just do a little rebuild advanced skeleton. Don't forget, over here, rebuild advanced skeleton. And you can see it's going through here. Let it build. Obviously, the more joints now we've got, the longer it will take. Sometimes you might get a little error come up, as you can see here. I can't quite see what it is yet, but as you can see, it's still building. All the curves are appearing, so let it run through. And there you go, build complete. It took actually a lot longer to build that time, because now we're getting more complex, and depending on your machine as well. So that even though it came up with some sort of error, we can check that. It's always good to go through. It might be related to something else. I'm going to click on this, and as you can see, it ran through everything over here, and I can't really see any errors. Just something path string matches name, but it went through build complete, so it all worked absolutely fine. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, these curves are absolutely massive. So but all the joints are in. Let's just give these a little rotate. There you go, perfect. And you see you can get this little electric controller down here, and there you go. So now let's fix the size of these controllers. Okay, before we move on, do not forget to save your file, save scene as, and a different number. I like to go up in version numbers, as you know. I'm going to delete that and go up to version 5. Very important. Anyway, so now let's just quickly reduce the size of these controls. You can see we've got all these massive controls, which are the root of all of these. I don't know why they get so big, but we can fix that. If you select this one here, that's the actual butt joint. You can see that's the one it's all parented to. If I do this, they all move together. Okay, so let's just drag select all these ones, and we're going to use the same curve editor that we used last time. So scroll down to here, control curves. I'm going to scroll down here, and we're going to scale these. So we want to go right down to, they're quite massive. So let's try something like 0.2, something like that. Let's see what happens. Yep, that looks good for now. We can always edit that again later. That looks good. So we're in a better position now. Let me just test one of these as well. So let's just select this one here and just check it rotates properly. Yep, that's looking good. And then obviously the curve the main curve they're parented to is the same color and almost the same size. So what we'll do is we'll color these curves later, just when we tidy things up. Okay, so now let's add in our twisty joints. So I'm going to hit save, always hitting Control S. It's just a habit, even and every sort of 20 seconds, because as we know, Maya does crash. Okay, so let's go back to, I'm going to close that down, go back to toggle fit advanced. Now let's select these joints here. And if you remember before that we did with the wings, we added our attribute. So let's go in first, add our twisty bendy attribute. So it's already there. If it's not, just hit on the menu, hit twisty bendy and hit add to add it to all of them. And you can see it's added them up here, bendy joints. And I've got them all selected still. I still want them all selected because I want to turn bendy joints on. Now you can right click and just drag to turn things on, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because you're doing multiple ones at once. So go over to bendy joints and actually type in the word on or the number 1 and hit return. Okay, so that will do them all at the same time, and the same for twisty joints. So type in, I think it was 7 we were using, hit return, and now you can just check that everything's the same. There you go, twisty joints 7 and bendy joints are on. Twisty joints 7, bendy joints are on. So this is great if you've got, like, we did this earlier on with the wings. It would just take ages to go and do them one by one. Okay, so now we've got that done. Let's do another test run. Let's go rebuild advanced skeleton and let that run. And there you go, build complete. Obviously that's taking quite a bit longer now, and I'm skipping some of it for the video so you don't have to sit and wait and watch. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So we've got our bend controllers on everything. Let's shrink them down because they are absolutely ridiculously massive at the moment again. Let's go over to our curve controls again. So let's go down to here and our control curves, and then we're just going to shrink these down to 0.2 again. That'll do for now. Let that run through. Brilliant. Okay, and now let's just test some of these stretchy controllers. I'm just going to drag select a few of them. There you go. Brilliant. Nice and bendy. There you go. And let's see if we can twist them as well. Awesome. And we've got the end controllers here. Let's just give this a test and lift this one out. There you go, nice and stretchy. We can sort of say, do this. There you go. How cool is that? And then you've got obviously your end ones down there. Like we say, this one's stuck in. We can change the colors later. So you can move these around still so it hasn't broken anything there. Awesome. I'm going to go down to here and I'm going to go to build pose, this button here to reset everything. And that's it. That's we're almost there. So now let's move on to the actual curve guide. Like we've done for the wings, let's add one for the tail. First of all, let's go to toggle fit advanced mode. Don't forget to do that again. And we're going to go back and add these attributes. We need to add the curve attributes to get onto the actual tail feathers. But first of all, obviously, we need to draw the curve. Now, you can draw this curve in toggle advanced fit mode, actually, or we could go out. It doesn't really matter. It still stays there. So let's go to a top view, and I'm going to go to show. I want to show my grid just so we know where the center is. Now, in the in my original file, I had, I think, four locators. Yeah, so that moves it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you remember from the previous video, however many points there are on the curve is however many locators we're going to get to be able to animate with. Now, I've got 5 feathers here, so you might want 1 for each one, or you might only want 3 to get a nice blend. 4 seem to work well for me. So I'm going to draw this curve. Now, we used EP curve before. You can either go up to create and then down to curves, curve tools, and then EP curve tool, or you can switch over to your curves menu here, so across the top, and you can select it here where you've got all the other ones as well. And also you can double click as well to bring up the settings. At the moment we're on 3 cubic. Now I'm not going to go into too much on this. I'm just going to leave this at the default for now. So what I want is I want 4 CVs. So I'm going to just click twice. Now I'll show you the reason for this. I'm going to go 1 and then 2 and hit return. Now if I right click and go control vertices, I've got the exact amount I need. Okay, so because in the default settings, which is, let's go up to here again, it's 3 cubic, you get 1 in between for each click. So you can have a play with these. I'm not going to go too much into that, but what I am going to show you is something else as well, which I didn't show you in the previous video, just in case you want it. Now you can actually rebuild these curves at any time. So if I select our curve again, and up in the menu settings over here, so go to your modeling menu set and curves, and then you can go down to rebuilds. I'm just going to show you this briefly. I'm not going to go into everything here. I'll save that for another video. I'm going to reset the settings. Okay, so what you've got is you've got your basic settings, the parameter range 0 to 1, and your 0 to number of spans. The number of spans is the space in between each CV. So I'll just show you this because you might find it useful. So let's say you've got this, or now you want double the amount, or something like that. So let's just whack this up to something like 10, okay, or 9, or whatever, okay. And now you can actually type in the value as well. So here, and now I'm going to keep it on 3 cubic. So that matches the settings over here. You can have a play with this. The linear is a straight line. The 2 gives you less CVs, but I don't want to confuse. This isn't a lesson about curves. It's just a little extra tip. Now, if I click rebuild, if you click apply, it will keep the menu and rebuild. If you click rebuild, it will remove the GUI. I'm just going to click, I need to select it first. Sorry. Let's just go over here. Oh, let me just, select the curve 10 and hit apply. Now you can see it's gone smoother. Now, when I go control vertices, there you go. It's now added in 10 extra CVs, and it's spaced them all out individually. So this is really useful if you've got something that's all unevenly spaced and you just want to quickly do it. Now, the reason I didn't use it on the wing controls down here is because it does add one close to the start and end points, which I don't need. So whatever way you want to work, I thought I'd just show you this because it is useful. I might do another video just to go into more depth here, what we can do with different curves. Okay, so that's useful. But at the moment, we've got 4, which is exactly what we want. So now I'm going to just spread these out where I want. Don't forget, it gets flipped over to the other side. So I want this control around here, nice and even space. Curve is going round like this. That's great. I'm going to go back out to object mode. Okay, so we can select the curve here. And let's rename our curve. So I'm going to name this tail curve control. I like the word curve in it just to keep some sort of naming convention. And now go back out to our perspective view. Now what you can see is it's on the floor, which is okay, because our tail end joints are near the floor, but I want to just rotate it up so it aligns. So I'm going to go to a side view over here, and you can see the pivot point. If I rotate at the moment, it rotates from here. We don't want that. So now I'm going to, you can either hit insert and move it across, or just simply just go to modify, center pivot, and now you can see our pivot is all the way over here. I'm going to hit the F key to zoom in, and now I'm going to just rotate these back. You see, I might just move this down so it's in line, go back out to here, and there you go. Okay, you don't have to do that, but I think it might help with the deformation. And then I'm going to go to modify, freeze transformations to bring everything to 000. Okay, so that's our curve set up. Now it's important that we go into our toggle fit advanced, and now we're going to select our joints and then add the attribute. Okay, so what we want to do over here is attribute, go down to curve guide, and then add. I'm just going to leave something now as a, this has got a mistake. I'm just going to show you just in case. I'm going to go to add. Add here, and you'll notice an error come up. It says you must select the curve as well. So I did that on purpose just to show you that. So we must select all the joints, then the curve, because it'll automatically hook it up as well. Now we can add our curve guide, and as you can see over here, it's automatically added it to our tail curve control we set up. So it's as easy as that, and this has happened for every single joint. Now, you can do it one by one, but I've done it all together, and now we are ready to rebuild. Okay, so it's the last bit. So now let's go over to rebuild advanced skeleton. Now this is going to take a good few minutes. Now it's going to take longer and longer the more complex we add this. We've got lots of joints, lots of twist joints, lots of curve. So let's just click this and let it run. There you go, updating orientations. It hasn't quite finished yet. You know it hasn't finished because it hasn't resized all the curves yet. Rebuild complete. There we go. So let's test these now. Let's go to our move tool and go to, let's choose one of these. There you go. Lovely. We can move a few at once if we want as well. Lovely. And we can also say move them and move these curves at the same time. We can twist them. We can even grab these controllers here and stretch them out. So yeah, it's working great. There we go. Now, one other little thing is you can notice the curves are just circles at the moment. In my example, on my finished rig from before, I've actually swapped these out. And I'm going to show you how to do that later in a polishing pass. I swapped them for an icon because I like to be able to see which way it's rotated. Now you can use the advanced skeleton curve control to just swap out anything like that, but we'll do that in a much later polishing pass. But yeah, there you go. So that is the tail feathers completely rigged. Okay, don't forget to save your work as a new version. And now let's move on to the toes and claws. So at the moment we have just a single joint ankle foot setup from the template. If we select the foot control over here, we go over to, we have all sorts of controls over here. We can go to swivel and roll. So if we roll, it's almost like a normal footstep, but we want to be able to bend and you know, each claw and each toe. So let's do that. So let's go to toggle fit advanced, and now we want to draw in our own joints. So you might want to do this from a side view or whatever. I'm just going to go into a top view. It might be a little bit hard to see here, so I'm going to zoom in. I can't hide the top at the moment because it's all part of one mesh. Well, we could do, but I mean, it's just as easy to do this. So let's now go back down to the advanced skeleton joint menu and click here, and let's start drawing in some joints. Now we want to draw these for each toe. They're quite long in my design. Your might be different. I'm going to match these up to where the sort of the knuckles are, where I want these to bend. You can always move these around anyway afterwards. So let's just start with the outer, which I'm going to call the pinky. So I'm going to click here all the way out to the knuckle here, and then they get a bit shorter here, here, and the claw. Okay, I'm going to hit return, and you can see our joint chain. Now let's go back out to a perspective view, and there you go, it's on the floor there. Now I just want to cover joint orientation at the moment. We haven't really talked about that. Maybe I should have talked about it in the previous video. If we look from the top, you can see that the joints are not pointing down towards each other. Now, we should always really have the option of fit mode on. So let me just quickly go over what this is. So at the moment, if I go, the joints aren't pointing the right way. If I go to fit mode, which is generally what we should have on all the time, you see a little mark, a little label up here saying fit mode. Okay, so what this does, if you can actually click on the help file, and it automatically runs all these. So it lines everything up when you're moving a joint. You insert a joint, and you've got auto orient on and things like that. Just go through this and have a little look. But what this does is it auto orientates, but only when you move things. So say for example now we want to move these into place, which is what I would do. I would sort of move these up. Now watch. Now as I move this up and let go, you can see now that's snapped into exactly this direction, and it's done the one before it as well. So say for example I move this a little bit, it snapped all those into place. Okay, so generally we move anyway. So it is generally, if I go to fit mode, it says it's recommended to keep fit mode on all the time when creating and placing joints. So that is that's a good option to do that. But you do have the other option as well, where the say fit mode is off. I'm just going to let's just delete those again. I'll just quickly draw another joint chain. So now watch this. So if I draw here, I'm just going to draw from this angle for now. 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. Okay, you can see they're all off again and they're all scattered. I don't have fit mode on and I don't want to move them, or say you've already moved them into place, so you're not using fit mode. What you can do is you can manually update them, but it has to be parented to the main to the joint chain, to the template first. So if I now shift select the toes where I'm going to be parenting them to anyway, and hit P. Okay, now they're actually parented in. Now what I could do is I could actually I don't need anything selected actually. If it's selected or not, it doesn't even matter because it goes through all the joints. And watch this. Now when I click update, it's a manual update. See that? It went through and updated all of them. Okay, so you have the option to do both. Now it is really advised to sort of keep fit mode on all the time, and then you can also manually update on top if you want as well. So let's turn on fit mode. Okay, so now we've got fit mode on. We're going to go back out to a top view. I thought that was good to show you that because it is really useful. I'm going to go 1 down to the knuckle, 2, 3, 4. Hit return. There you go. So now let's just move these into place. You might go to a side view, move them in, and now I'm going to sort of just move this one up into place. So let's just move this one up a little bit, and as you can see they're snapping now. I want just a little bit of curvature. This one I'm going to move in and down, and this one down to the end, to the tip of the claw. And I am in obviously object move mode, so hold W key. I'm on object, not world. Okay, so that is our first joint chain. That is our pinky toe. Now I want to rename these. You don't have to rename them, but I think it's good for the toes. At the moment it's just called joint 48. So I'm just going to go up to here, just so I know what the called. I'm going to call this toe, and then the word joint, and then 1, because it's going to be the first joint in the chain. Okay, so I'm going to select this as I go. Now because there's only 4 joints in there, it's really easy to sort of just copy and just paste on. But you also could use the little tool called find and replace. So if you go up to modify, actually first I need to select all of the joint chains. So I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to turn off poly selection, and then I'm going to select the hierarchy, and that selects all of them. As you can see, if I scroll over here now, all of them are selected in the outliner. Now if you wanted to, you could go up to here. Now go modify, and then down to search and replace names. Really easy to use. You type in, so say if this was called joint as it was before, I can say swap joint for say toe, and then pinky, or whatever I want, hit apply, and it would do them all in one go. So that's a really good, useful tool to use, especially if you've got a chain with maybe 20 joints in a row. But what it doesn't do, I don't think, is actually renumber them. So I'm just going to rename these manually. There's only 4 joints, so it's really easy to do. So we want to call this one pinky. Let's start this with toe, and then pinky, just so we can tell which one it is, and then 1, and then I'm just simply just going to go copy, and then I'm going to do this in the outliner, or you can do it over here, doesn't matter, and I'm just going to paste these in, just change the number, simple as that. Pinky 2, and then this pinky 3, and then paste pinky 4, and then paste, and simply pinky 5. Quick and easy to do as that. There you go. So they're all renamed. Okay, so that's a really quick and easy way of doing it. Whatever you feel comfortable with. If you've got larger joint chains, obviously use the replace tool and all those sorts of things. Okay, so now let's go and create the other toes. So we can either draw them, or we can actually duplicate from here. So let's just see what we get. We're going to go duplicate, and as you can see over here, we get all our toes again over here, which we're going to have to rename, but it's just quite easy to do. I'm just going to move this over. I'm just going to rotate this into place. And then I am going to move all these joint chains manually. So let's just move these over. I'm going to have this in the knuckle there. I'm going to have that one there. And then this one is going to come, this one here is going to come over to the toe at the end like this. And I want this one, oh, sorry, right on the end this one goes. Lift this one up a bit and get this onto the tip of the claw. So we've got that nice rotation in there. I'm going to hit the D key as we did before, so I only want to move this without moving the others now. There we go. Move that up a bit. There we go. Simple as that. And now let's quickly rename these. So we've got over here, I want to change this for, let's have a little look. Just select this one here. So now this one's going to be mid. So let's change this to toe mid 1, and then as we did before, just really quickly copy paste 2, paste 3. You don't have to rename your joints at all. I didn't do it for the feathers and all those sorts of things, but I don't know, it's just good if you've got the time to be a bit neat, especially on toes and things like that, so you can find them a bit easier again as well. See, it was really quick. We've done that already now. Again, let's now duplicate this one across. I'm actually going to duplicate this one across because it's a shorter joint chain. Again, just speeding up workflow. Move this in over here. Just rotate this across to here. Move this one right back. And again, your design might be completely different to mine, and that looks good for now. Let's just see. I'm going to move that one out and this one further across. Oh, move this one back in a bit, and that'll do it. That's fine for now. And just check from the side where these joints are. I'm going to hit the D key, move that one up a bit. Actually, I'm just being a bit. Not fussy, it's got to be correct, but you know what I mean. And then hit insert again, and now we have all 3 joint chains. Let's quickly name this one. This one will be index. So this one will be toe index 1, and don't forget it's going to be left and right, and the advanced skeleton will rename that for us. Copy, paste 2, paste 3, paste 4, paste 5, and we're done. Okay, so that's those front toes there, and we also want some for the rear, don't we, as well? So I'm going to let's see, just duplicate this one for now, because well, it doesn't matter. Duplicate, bring this all the way around to the back, and I'm going to rotate this all the way. Or sometimes it's just quicker to actually draw them in sometimes as well. But you know, whatever, we just it's pretty quick to do anyway, all this. So just move this back into place here, and this one here. This one to go down, and then this one here. Oh, I've moved this one in a side view a bit too much there, haven't I? Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's move this one down a bit. You can take a bit more time over this, and then so this one will be the rear toe. So let's just, as before, just quickly rename it. Oh, what have I done there? Ah, there you go. I accidentally snapped it off to the side there. It's a bit annoying when that happens. Okay, let's open this up. And this one is going to be toe rear 2, paste 3, double click, paste 4, double click, paste, and 5. And there they are. They're all done. So now let's just quickly parent this. We're going to parent this to the main toes joint here. So I'm going to select all of these. You can do these one by one if you want, or all of them at the same time. So I'm going to select all of these and this. Then I'm going to finally select my toes joint here, and I'm going to hit the P key. Okay. There you go, easy as that. And now, so when the toe joint gets rotated, you know, they can all rotate with it, and they can also rotate individually. Okay, there you go. So save your work from there, and now let's run and let's run a build. Let's run a build. Okay, go back to here and go rebuild. There we go, it's run through and build complete. So let's test out some of these claw controls. So let's just turn off joint selection, because it takes preference if I want to select these actual toe joints. And now I'm going to just say select all these, deselect this, and do a little test. Oh, don't want that joint that control selected. There we go, look at that. So that's going to be our lovely claws. Again, you've got curves at the back as well. There you go. The bird's going to be able to grip and do all sorts. So that's working really well. And obviously we've still got our foot IK control there, where we can lift up the leg and roll, and so we can like perch on stuff and things like this. Obviously your design may be different. You might have shorter toes, longer toes. You may need more joints, less joints, but it's all the same process. So I'm going to hit go to build pose, and there, let's move on to the next lesson.
So there you go, we've come quite far. Now in the next video, in part 4, I think that we're going to be moving on to painting and skinning weights, which means we're going to be skinning the weights of the geometry, the actual mesh to the joint. So we'll finally be able to pose our character. Then we need to add a small facial rig, and we're doing extra controls in the belly to control the fat before doing a final polishing pass. Now if you've learned something and you're enjoying this free series, I really appreciate if you give it a like to help the algorithm, even subscribe to get notified when I bring out more videos, and even pop over to the Patreon page if you want to support this channel, join your community, and I'll be giving away things like project files, behind the scenes videos, and different videos that only patrons can have. So I will see you in part 4.